Alright, this is Calibos, and we're playing Enigmatica 2, and clearly my village is getting attacked. But that is not why we are here today. So I have done some off-camera work, uh, most notable of which is I've started setting up auto-processing for ores. So I'm taking advantage of the fact that we have creative flight and building three-dimensionally. So this top one clearly processes the raw ore. And all it does is grind stuff down. So anything that needs to be ground down, we're just exporting to this ender chest, which is black, black, red. So up here, black, black, red, black, black, red. So I actually started with 2 originally, decided it couldn't keep up, and then I built 2 more. And these are the enhanced alloy smelters, which are horrible and super annoying to build. They pull down into the sag mill or the smelter as appropriate. And then from the bottom, I have 2 ender chests, which are black, 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 with the resonant retrievers to pull stuff out of these. So it looks like we have caught up with that. And of course, anything that needs to be smelted goes into here. So the idea is we just put the stuff in here and it automatically exports it. So I'm guessing that I actually have some stuff that needs to be set up to pulverize. So gold, or not pulverized. Let's stop dancing. Silver. So show you what we're doing. So we pop these in here, and very shortly these should start filling up. Now, with the capacitors that we got out of like loot bags and treasure chests and stuff like that, the alloy smelters and the sag mills are actually processing really fast. I have the alloy smelters up there up to furnace mode only, so that I don't accidentally make alloys out of things. And just to give you an idea of how fast this goes, let's go over here to pulverized. So it's already pulled all of the silver out, and it's keeping up with what's being crushed. And if we go over here to silver, we're just making silver ingots that fast. So what this will do is this will actually reduce some of the storage that we're using, inevitably. And you can tell that there is some backlog, mostly because I've just told it to, I've added like 5 ores to what it's processing. The sag mills do work a lot faster than the alloy smelters. It's kind of irritating that they do that, but it is what it is. But the entire thing's actually keeping up remarkably well, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to have to add any more processing after this. I think that this might be enough, because not only do I have the 2 of each here, but I have the original versions, the regular alloy smelter and sag mill in the main storage unit, which are also processing. One of the other things that I have done is you'll notice that I have got a drawer of printed silicon, a drawer of redstone, and a drawer of regular silicon. So I've got the material stonework factory here, and all it's doing is producing cobble, because it does that, grinding it all the way down to silicon, and then exporting into this chest. So this storage bus is adding silicon to the network. And I've set this as the primary storage for redstone. It can still be stored in the system, but it's going to go here first. and all the printed silicon automatically goes here first as well. So the only place I'm making printed silicon is right here. So what I've done is it is currently exporting silicon. I've set a redstone card, so it is redstone sensitive, and told it to only work without a signal. So when this isn't lit up, and this is the level emitter, it's pumping silicon into this and then pulling out the printed silicon. So what the level emitter is doing is it's checking to see how much of the printed silicon is available in the system entirely. And so I've set that at 2000 because an unaltered basic drawer here holds, what, 2048 or something like that. And I feel that this is probably enough. I did have thoughts to basically set up all of these as well the same way, but I mean, let's see if I've got any cards in here. Acceleration cards. So I've set up some auto crafting as well, so I think we'll make 30. Okay. So I've set up auto crafting as well. You know, I've just the basics of auto crafting. I still have a lot that it can't build. Each one of these holds 5. So I can actually speed this up at the cost of a little bit of power. And now, you know, we might actually not need to set these up for silicon. We might be able to simply set these up for, let's pull this off, regular chips. And then I will set a level for these as well. And so these will make the inscriber. Calculation, engineering, and logic. So pull that out, put that one in there, pull that out, put that one in there, put that one in there. So what I will probably end up doing is automating these the same way. And with the level emitters so that it doesn't overproduce. Now, one of the things that I need to be aware of is at this point I am sitting on roughly 3,000 diamonds, you know, and eventually this ore will be processed. So it's still processing stuff. But if I set the drawers up exactly the same way, with the 2000 whatever, I'm going to run out of diamonds really fast, and I don't want to do that because I'm worried about well, I guess I could set the limit at like 500 of each, and then as I get more materials, I can improve it, because we're looking at some of these, like, you'll remember that the 64K memory, or whatever it's called, whatever this is, 64K. The storage component actually used, what is it, 27 of the 1Ks, which meant, you know, which is a logic processor, which is gold. Now, I'm not as worried about gold because I have some gold and I have some more gold being processed. And I think that there's actually still some, yeah. I don't think there's any gold ore in here. There's 3. So I'm not as worried about that. But then I look over here at Certus, and I've got 15,000 charged Certus quartz. Oh, that's right, because it's charging everything as I go. I forgot about that. So I mean, the pure ones we can do pretty easily. So I'll probably set up a limit, and I know it's going to be kind of boring, but I just want to work through some of the basic setups of these. So I have 3 channels coming off here. So we're going to pull some smart cable, and we're going to pull it, let's see, that's 25. So remember I said that I could pull a bunch of channels off of things? So I have 1 channel coming through here and 32 coming out. So we need to be wary of how many channels we're using. So this is probably where we're going to start pulling some more off to set up another station much like this. I also want to set up one of these for a material stonework factory for to make sand available and gravel available. And I think I made some material stonework factories extra. Yeah, I've got a couple of extra for just that purpose. I don't anticipate needing sand and stuff off the top of my head, but so I may have outsmarted myself because I have one, two. So I've got 1, 2, 3. What is that? 4 devices left there. 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 devices left there, and I don't have enough channels. So what we're going to do is we're going to go grab a network card. Network. So we'll need one of these, and then we'll need a memory card. Memory card. We'll need a blank one. Okay. So this is how this works. So really, it's kind of simple. This has 7 channels coming off, right? And we're worried because that's going to be too many. So we break this here. Oh, it's terrible. Pop that down. Pop that down. And then we head here. There we are. So that one's being used. And so now we take this blank one and we... What? I think I have to like shift crouch, and that's a little more challenging when flying. So we do that. And then we'll notice that it has changed color. It's now yellow because it's marked. So we pop over to here, and then we come over to this, and we go boom. Give it a second, and now we have 7 channels going from 1. So now we actually have. So remember, we were going to be short like 3 channels. Now we've got an extra 25 to play with. How cool is that? So we could actually expand this pattern slightly. And that makes this easier to bear. Now, one of the problems I'm still having difficulty with when I first start the game up. I have to go through and break and replace all of my smart cables from the quantum rings. That's super obnoxious. Super obnoxious. I've tried putting some of these dense energy cells here. I'm hoping that fixes it. But I suspect rather not. So like I said, I've made some we've got some molecular assemblers, and you actually put the recipes in the interface. Now the way that I've got this set up, this interface is actually interfacing with 3 of these molecular assemblers, so it will work at whatever one's online. This one is also 3, and that one's also 3, and that one's 4, and stuff like that. So, like for example, we can go ahead and do acceleration cards. If we pop all of these in here. Now the molecular assemblers are really cool. You can actually set up a molecular assembler with a single recipe right here, and then once you feed it ingredients, it automatically makes it. So I find that to be most awesome, and very thoughtful of dude who made this. So let's make some more acceleration cards, because we're going to need like 1 million of them. We're actually going to need, let's see, these two have some, this one doesn't. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 times 5, what is that? Gosh, 75, I don't know. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's going to need calculation processors and pure Fluix crystals. So we're going to teach it how to make pure Fluix crystals. So I have the dust right here. So now we're going to make a pattern. I'm going to pop that in there, and we're going to change it to a processing pattern. And we're going to tell it that 1 Fluix crystal becomes 1 Fluix dust. And then we bring it over here, and we tell it this is a machine. So whenever a Fluix crystal is popped in here, it makes it into a dust. And that will be true once the system catches up with all of that lead. So lead, how much lead do we have? Lead. Yeah, we're actually running towards the end of that. So, and the reason that putting the space in front does this is because you're actually telling it to check for a space and then ore. And so it's osmium space ore, platinum space ore, coal space ore. And this has space ores in a straight line, and this has plant on redstone ore and stuff. So it works out pretty well for just a base detector. And it should be, yeah, see, it's a little deceptive there. And it's going to start grinding through the redstone now. I would like this to finish. These are like working at full speed. Like I said, the alloy smelters are simply not as fast as the sag mills. I'm not worried about that now because they're mostly going to keep up. And what I'd like to do in the future is set up the draconic chest. Where is it? Draconium chest. So it's going to be quite expensive to build, but fairly easy. I mean, draconic cores, draconium block. We've got lots of draconium. I mean, this is wood, that's cobblestone. So this is going to be draconium ingots and whatever. So we could actually almost build this now. All we'd really need is a let's go back to the chest really quick because I forget what it's called. We'd need the fusion crafting stuff. So lapis, draconic core, diamonds. We could reasonably do this. I think a draconic chest actually requires quite a bit of power. How much draconium do we have? Draconium. So if we take this, oops, get rid of that. If we take this, we can just smelt it. Alright, so we can actually just smelt that down if we choose to. What is this? to make the tablet, honestly. Let's throw down for this tablet. That's probably a quest. Draconic. We might not actually have access to it. Well, we do. We've got the... Alright, in-game wiki. It's Draconic Evolution. So, what is... It was the energy infuser. Okay, that's actually really cool. So it charges items. Now, that's not a super big deal, but it is in a way. So, ooh, magnet. So that's kind of cool. So we've done that. Been to the end. Let's black concrete. So let's toss that in there. So we've got to the end. We've done that. Oh, we got a spare dragon heart. Oh, that's cool. That actually will save us a little bit of time and effort. We'll need that. Requires celestial manipulator. We can make it always daytime forever. That's cool. I don't honestly see a use. So at this point, you'll notice that the emitters are on, which means we have reached more than 2,000. So, sweet. So let's set up the crystal growth chamber. Okay, so we've got this. I think we can we afford, how many channels do we have here? 19. So if I, gotta watch this because the dense cables don't actually attach to machines, so you need the smart cables, the regular smart cables. So I've made a recipe for those, and you run into trouble where if I put the smart cable here, it will form a loop, and you don't want to do that. So we need a cable tie, cable anchor. So I want to put a cable anchor there, and that, and that. And then we want to make an export bus. So we'll need a formation core. So let's make a formation core. Do I have a recipe for formation cores? Formation cores. I do not. So let's chuck that in there. I think that one's full up, yeah. So I'm just kind of generally working my way that way. So let's make an annihilation core too. Annihilation core. So just being able to put the recipe in doesn't mean that we can make it. So, for example, if we put in the formation core and we're like, hey, we want one of these, and it's like, I can totally make that. And then we're like, okay, well, then we want 10 of them. apparently it can also make 10. Oh, well, at least we saw a little bit of cool stuff, I guess. 10 start. Oh, it's crafting over here. Right, I knew that. But yeah, we'll call it here. I guess the next couple of episodes are going to be, expanding, what our list of things that we can craft. I'm not going to do all of the crafting on there. I'm just kind of going to catch you guys up. But so just so you know, this cable up here comes to our crafting storage and our crafting coprocessor. So yeah, that's really where we are. I'm going to do a little bit more. I hope to cover at least a little bit of all of the crafting setups that you can do. I'll answer any questions that you guys have if I can. For example, why do I have it going into the chests instead of straight into the machines? Well, the chest allows me to have an infinite number, a potentially infinite number of machines that I am building from. And I only need to have so many things going into this. Plus, if we run out of inputs, we can simply add another input over here and then keep going. So it's pretty cool. All right. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for coming. I'm glad you showed up. You guys have a great night. If you liked it, leave a like. Questions, comments, concerns can all go below.